What's up, guys? So good to have all of you guys. What's up? Good to have you guys on our live stream tonight. We're going to be talking about type 7s, Enneagram type 7. Feel free to use the chat feature here on the live stream. I'd love to interact with you and answer any questions, or maybe I won't be answering a lot of questions. Maybe we'll just be talking. So if you want to give your input tonight, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of type 7. And hopefully we'll end this with, some encouragement of what we can do to have better relationships, better interactions with others, be more compassionate with ourselves, and, just have a better life. We as sevens want to be happy. So it's important for us to come back and say, are our strategies working? Are they working for us? Or are we so driven by our fundamental motivations of our type that we're moving away from what would actually bring about a better life or bring about a happy life? So just as a reminder, my website, tomlahue.com, you can download a free mini course. Just join my Enneagram community and you get a free mini course download on Know Your Why, knowing your purpose. And it's a great little study on being clear about who am I and what am I here on earth to do. And so let's jump in. And also there's a discount code for all of my on-demand classes. I got another one coming out this week around my book, Great Life. And so it's 10 things that you got to get right in life to have a great life. And that promo code is Be Present 35 for 35% off any of the on-demand classes. All right, so let's talk about type 7s. All right, these are my people. From time to time, I'll have people say, you're not really a 7, Tom. I think you're a 5, or I think you're a 3. I think you're a 9. I've had all kinds of comments on my YouTube videos. And I get it when I'm doing a video, not these live streams or not when I interact with people, but when I do a video, I get it. I focus on the information. I focus on the content. I'm trying to, be articulate and trying to be disciplined and do the right thing, be responsible, counter 7. But in my heart, I'm a 7, guys, 100%. I'm going to go down this list of some of the things that frustrate other people being with a 7. And as I read this list, I'm like, yep, that's me. I'm not always proud of it, but these are the things that I've struggled with all my life and the things that I continue to struggle with. And these become a problem for me and for the people that, were trying to love me. It becomes a problem. So if you are a 7, then this video I hope is helpful for you, or you love a 7, you're trying to be married to a 7, date a 7, or you got a kid that's a 7 or a parent that's a 7, brother or sister, whatever. This list hopefully will help you get a little compassion for them and realize, yes, 7's upbeat, playful, fun-loving, all that, but there's a dark side too. There's some challenges living with a Enneagram type 7 person. We're going to talk about those tonight. So let's go down the list and let's talk about each one of these. I am looking at the chat here, so if you guys can, I assume you guys can hear me fine. And if you want to respond or you want to ask questions or anything, feel free, and I'll try to pay attention to those too. Okay, so number one reason why people could find it difficult to live with or be in a relationship with a type 7 is the 7's avoidance of pain and discomfort. So we could talk about this all night, just this one thing. That what happens when you want to avoid pain and discomfort, when you naturally orient to the positive? Well, it's going to lead you to maybe minimize some of the real realities that surround you. Like, for example, imagine that the 7's mother is very domineering and wants everybody to come to their house for Christmas. And the 7's wife doesn't want to spend Christmas at your family's. And minimizing this as though it's not a real problem, it's no big deal. I don't want to have conflict with mom. I also don't want to have conflict with my wife. And I don't really want to feel stuck in making a decision. So you can see where this could lead to some challenges. Sevens have a tendency to want to avoid negative feelings and quote unquote unpleasant situations. Like how do we make this more lighthearted? How do we make this easier to navigate through? It's like just like nines. I think sevens and nines would probably agree on this, like not really wanting to deal with some of the problems and hardships and challenges in life. And this could make us come off sometimes as dismissive or even like inauthentic to other people. This unwillingness or this hesitancy to deal with problems or to face discomfort, unpleasant situations. Imagine if you're a seven like Michael Scott on The Office and you have to fire somebody, or you have to choose, worse, you have to choose a person out of the office to fire. You might, on the one hand, know exactly who needs to be let go of, but then just what do I have to do to not make this happen? I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to have this unpleasant conversation with somebody. And I imagine it's probably a lot easier for seven wing eights than it would be for seven wing sixes like myself, and probably easier for self-preservation sevens than it would be for social or sexual sevens, to just have to sit down, be the boss, make a hard decision, follow it through, look at somebody, deliver unpleasant news. I'm sorry, Mary, you're a great person, but it's just not working out. I'm going to have to let you go. I don't want to have to be the person that delivers that message. And so what would a seven do? Well, they might try to do everything else that could make the situation a lot worse than just dealing with it and just facing the reality that this is just one of those unpleasant conversations that has to happen. So you struggle with this as a seven? Do you struggle with this if you are in a relationship with a seven? Is this a source of problems and contention in your life or in your household? I'd be very interested to hear your story or find out, if this is something that makes it challenging for you being in a relationship with the person you love. All right. So number one reason why people might find it difficult to be in a relationship with a type 7 is that we don't want to have to necessarily face the unpleasant stuff. We don't want to have to deal with the problems sometimes. Well, and that can just make them grow. Number two reason why it can be difficult to live with a type 7, or why people might hate us. You're not going to hate us, but why people might hate us is restlessness, is a sense of restlessness. Just like, that was really fun, but what else are we doing? What else is out there? What else do we need to try? Just this general sense that there's something more and there's something else we could be doing, and I'm not satisfied doing what I'm doing. I'm not really present to what I'm doing. I'm not really content with it. And you remember 7s, 1s, and 4s are in the frustration group of all kind of saying this could be better. We should have tacos. It's great that we have a hamburger bar and hot dogs, but we really should add tacos to this, and then it would be amazing. And that sense of restlessness, of like wanting a new experience or not being satisfied with the adventure we're on, but sort of being dissatisfied. And we don't want to be dissatisfied. Remember, our sin is gluttony, right? So it's always like more and something outside of myself. And I would say for me as a 7, if I was just, being direct about this, I would say this is probably my primary way of feeling anxiety. We're in the fear group with 5 and 6, but you don't really often think of 7s as being like a fear type, because we're not obvious with our fears. But the old saying is like, if you make us sit still, you'll see the anxiety. If you make Robin Williams, a type 7, sit still, if you make Jim Carrey, if you make Jack Black, David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, any of these people that are 7s, make Jimmy Fallon sit still, and you will see eventually, you will see it as like being fidgety or being restless. And that is that anxiety of just not being satisfied, not being okay in the space we're in, not being okay doing what we're doing. we were those kids in elementary school, Mrs. Johnson, can we go outside? Can we watch this DVD? Can we watch this DVD? And the teacher's like, we're already watching King Kong. Yeah, but I want to watch this one. I want to watch this one. Can we go outside? Can I go get a drink? I need to go play with the squirrel. Can I? Sevens would have been the restless kid, that's rolling under the tables, that's got to get a hall pass to go get a drink of water, that's got to talk out of turn. We were those kids. We were the impulsive child. Probably, or if you weren't a 7, you probably have some connection to 7, like 8-wing 7, 6-wing 7, something like that. And so this general sense of like dis-ease with what we're doing, and this could be more, this should be more, how much longer, when are we going to get there? Not really enjoying the journey, but just looking forward to what's next and not really being present to what is. And so this new experiences, new adventures all the time can make us seem restless and inconsistent, leading others to wish we would settle down and be more fully present doing what we're doing. This could take, I tell you, one of the ways that this might show up in a 7's life is collecting things, is just this general sense of restlessness that, okay, I have a nice collection of electric guitars. I've got 5 or 6 electric guitars, but my fascination and focus of attention is on the one I don't have. So I'm goes to 5, researching, learning about, watching videos about, talking about, focused on what? Not the ones I have, but on the one I don't have. And then feeling like this need to add that to my collection. Like if I just had this other guitar that I don't have, well, then I would have a good collection. So 7s, their defense mechanism is justification. And so we can justify why this is the right time to buy this. It's right now, it's 30% off. And if I wait, it's not going to be 30% off. And the economy, everything is being inflated right now. And they were out of the red ones, and now they just got a new shipment in. The price is right, the time is right, and there's this general sense of restlessness, like I can't rest knowing that thing exists outside of my collection. How can I rest with the 5 guitars I have, the 6 guitars I have? That's not enough. And obviously to anybody else, they would think, how many guitars can you play at one time? And I see 7s all over YouTube collecting things and making videos about their collections. They're called reviewers, right? They're going to review wallets. They're going to review belts. They're going to review watches. 7s are reviewing hats, and they're reviewing fragrances. They're reviewing shoes. All over YouTube, dominated by 7s. They've got a wall of shoes behind them, and they're talking about the next shoe, the newest one. This one's coming out, and this one's different than that, and you got to check this one out. Don't miss out on this. And man, and when you're around a 7, you'll start to feel like the energy of gluttony yourself. Like, wow, maybe I am missing out. Maybe I do need to own this. Maybe I do need to go into debt to buy this thing I don't have. You'll start to feel, 7s will start to persuade you that you're missing out and that you need to know about this amazing thing that and when you pause all of this and just break it down, at the heart of this is you've got a 7 on YouTube and other places. You got a 7 that I can't do nothing. What am I going to do? I'd sit here and do nothing? I would be restless. I would be bored. I would be uncomfortable. So I'm going to learn about something, and then I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to share it. And essentially, that's kind of what I've done with the Enneagram, is I'm going to learn about this thing, and I'm fascinated by it. It's very helpful, and now I'm going to share it. And so where some of you guys might read books because you really want to know the information, if I'm not careful as a 7, I'm reading stuff because I want something to talk about. I want something to think about. I want something that my mind to spin on, because what would I do if I didn't? I'd sit here and just what? Taking you into a deep dive into how crazy 7 mind works. Come on, guys, put some chats down here. There's several of you on here. Just let me know you're alive. Let me know you're breathing. Let me know you're a person. Any of you guys understand what I'm talking about? You live with a 7 or you are a 7. Don't make me feel like I'm the only one here. And 7s can be brilliant, man. Look at Robin Williams. Brilliant man. I mean, smart as smart can be. Fast, quick. Look at Jim Carrey. Look at Jack Black. Look at the guys that I mentioned. I mean, brilliant people. Super sharp. Okay. Sounds like my sister. Thank you, Neer. Appreciate that. Thanks for the comment. Comment number 1. Appreciate it. Yeah. So 7s can be brilliant. We just kind of use our brilliant minds for, sometimes more like entertaining than maybe like a 5 might. Marjorie, thanks for watching. Thanks for your comment. I appreciate it. Very true. Strangely an introvert 7. That's not all that uncommon. I'm an ENFP. I think it's probably obvious to you guys that know Myers-Briggs. I'm an ENFP. But 7s are sort of introverted extroverts. Like if we have an audience, we'll be an extrovert. But when we're around a lot of other big energy, we might introvert away. Like I don't necessarily want the constrictions or obligation associated with this expense of my energy. So 7s can sometimes just splash their energy everywhere without thinking about it. But then other times can be very, introverted. So 7s are often kind of introverted extroverts. All right. Yeah, in Sea Beach, I believe I'm an 8-wing 7. And yeah, the collection, smoke cigars. Yeah. See, this is why I can't do that kind of stuff, because I've never been a person that drinks, but I know what my problem would be. It probably wouldn't be like getting drunk. My problem would be I would want to know everything there is to know about each different kind of alcohol. Like if I was going to try rum, well, then I would want to know every bottle of rum possible. We become connoisseurs, you see. The fear of missing out. That's one of the things that we're going to get to here is like, I would want to try every one of these different kinds of rum until I felt like I mastered the world of rum and knew all the nuances, all the differences. And then I would shift to bourbon, and then I would shift to, and this is what would happen. I already know how I'm wired as a 7. Like I'm just not going to do it because I just don't want to spend that kind of money, especially on something like alcohol. I don't want to spend that kind of money and time in counter 7. I'll just tell myself no, from the beginning. All right. So cigars, that's definitely one of those things that I'm sure there's probably tons of YouTube channels if YouTube allows smoking. I don't know. But on cigars. Okay. So yes, so relatable. I tend to burn myself out being on the go, maximizing as much as I can, don't want to miss out. Yeah, we exhaust ourselves and others. And sometimes, 7s might end up exhausted, not realize how exhausted they are. They might have to just kind of crash before they realize, because there's always something else to go to, always something else to do. Hi, Tom, listening to you, dating a 7 at this time. Really frustrating. I'm a 4. Yeah, how about that? Thanks, Orna. I appreciate that. A 4 dating a 7. Yeah, and 4 would be good for us in many ways because it'll make us deeper. Somebody who's a 4 push us into our feelings a little bit and help us to see that the dark side shouldn't necessarily be called dark side, just maybe call it the other side. I think of it as a dark side and a light side, but probably 4s just think of it as it's all just our feelings and it's all just reality and it's all just stuff we have to go through in life. But for me, yeah, it feels like a dark side. Marjorie says, with the fact that I want to buy many, many of each things, scared not to have what I like. Yeah, because we justify it. You buy one and you're like, well, if you buy 2, you get a discount. And if you buy 3, you get free shipping. And now that I've bought 3, there's only 10 in the collection. I might as well just go ahead and buy the whole collection. That way I know. 7s, if we're not careful, we become samplers of life. And, when you sample things in life, that becomes then the way you experience that. And, think about if you sample relationships, that's very different than choosing one and staying committed to that one person. Not that 7s can't be committed, because we can, because we tend to when we make a commitment, we tend to really want to value that commitment because we've kind of considered the cost of what this commitment will cost us. So we're going against our nature to make a commitment and lock ourselves in. But, if you were to marry a person and stay married to them and experience relationships that way, that's one way to experience them. Or what if you sampled a lot of different relationships? That is a different way to have relationships. And, the probably the default setting on a 7 is that would be the preferred way to continue to search. To continue to search to find the ever elusive thing that will satisfy us. And I remember it being a big moment in my life when I was learning about type 7, and I remember having the thought, it's kind of like I've lived my life with a tattoo on this arm that says do fun things. And that's a pretty average, healthy 7. Let's do fun things. What are we doing today? What are we going to go do? Let's go do it. Let's go make it fun. Let's go make it exciting. Let's go make it thrilling. Let's go raise the energy. And so, an average, healthy 7 is chasing what is the fun thing we're doing today. What are we doing today? Come on, let's go do something fun. Let's go engage with this big, beautiful world. But then I had this realization that really, like, a healthy 7 would have this tattoo on their arm that says, do things fun. And meaning I don't need to do fun things all the time and then be disappointed when it's not fun, be restless when it's not fun, be upset when it feels restrictive. I don't need to focus on doing the next fun thing. Why can't I just do all things with enjoyment, fun, excitement, creativity? And I can. And I don't think that that's the pinnacle of health for 7, but that's definitely something that could help you begin the process of moving toward health as a 7. Is why do you always have to focus on doing the fun thing? Why can't you do all things with fun? Why can't you enjoy everything? And really, when 7s are healthy, they bring fun with us. We bring excitement. We bring joy. We bring enthusiasm. When we're not doing well, we're just running away from all of our commitments, chasing after whatever we think will be fun, satisfying, and exciting or inspiring. You get a 7 that's not chasing after whatever is caught their attention right now, and you could have a great time with them just washing dishes. You could wash dishes and laugh until you wet your pants with a 7. I won't tell you stories. Okay, so sounds like a 5. Hi, I'm a 4-wing 3, but I love learning about the Enneagram. Great to have you, Therese. Great to have you. How much does a 7-wing influence the 8? A lot. The 8-wing 7, the wheeler dealer, the maverick, that's assertive. 8-7, assertive. 8-9, the bear, assertive, withdrawn. Very different, could interact very differently with people. Think of it like this. You're like, I'm an 8. I don't know if I'm a 7 or a 9-wing. Just ask yourself, under stress, what do you look more like? Do you look a little bit more like a 7? Do you start to go to a party, for example, with a little bit of a stress going to a party? Do you become a storyteller, fun-loving, excitable, and then after 2 hours leave because you're an 8 and you're not a 7? Or do you look more like a 9, sitting back, talking to whoever, withdrawing, sort of in the corner, not in an angry way? That's when you look like a 5. But we're not talking about 8s. We're talking about 7s. Catherine says, I'm a 5 and I need to have fun going to the 7. Yes. And okay. Yeah, and a lot of 5s, have a strong line to 7. It's not a bad thing. Under stress, 7s can look a little bit like 5s, thinking they need more information, bouncing around without any focus in their life, maybe reaching out for substances. But some 5s just have strong lines to 7. Like I think of Weird Al Yankovic. I think he's probably a 5. Looks a lot like a 7. 7 sounds awesome. Yeah. Yeah, sincerely from a 9. Yes. 7s and 9s, think about it. We're saying, don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Look who's in between us. 8. Does that tell you anything? Does that tell you everything you need to know? 8, right in between 7 and 9. Don't worry, be happy. Because I have CPTSD, from childhood and have no choice to face the darkness, I found a way to shape my philosophy around it, make it fun, use curiosity, and make it great. Thanks, Margie. Appreciate that. Okay, what else we got on our list? So we've only done 2 so far. We've done the avoidance of pain and discomfort. Wow, how many times did I not sit down to do my book reports when I was in middle school? Hated it. I remember having to do a book report on Huckleberry Finn. Ugh. You know, Huckleberry Finn, probably a great story, but I didn't want to read that. And there was no computers, really. There was no internet or anything to cheat. And you just had to figure out how you're going to write a 3-page book report on a book you don't want to read. And it's the weekend. It's due on Monday, and you're Saturday. You're looking out your window. This feels like torture. What's the worst feeling for a 7? Having to write a book report on Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn on a Saturday when it's sunny outside and cartoons are on and you're 12 years old and there's no way to cheat. Ugh, that feels awful. I can remember when I was at, 7th grade, and I wanted to play guitar, but my parents, you're not going to play guitar. That's rock music. You're not going to play. Okay. So they wouldn't let me play guitar. So the school had violin. And I was like, man, I'll do violin. Sure. Violin's great. Well, so I got my violin and I came to practice. Guess when they scheduled practice? They scheduled practice at the same time as recess. Okay. The same time as recess. We're in the cafeteria looking out, giant glass walls. You guys ever been to Florida? A lot of buildings, a big glass, right? So we're in the cafeteria, giant glass wall, looking right out at the playground. So there's all my friends playing on the playground while I'm in the cafeteria, nerding it up, playing the violin. And it doesn't sound good. And you're playing, Fiddler on the Roof and Mary Had a Little Lamb and all these songs that you hate while you're looking out the window at a sunny day, all your friends playing on the playground, and you don't get recess because you're in violin practice. You want to feel what anxiety feels like for a 7? That's it right there. And then you go home and you tell your parents, I can't do this. I can't play the violin. Do you know they make us practice during recess? 3 days a week? I can't do it. You signed up for this, Tommy. You're going to see it through. You signed up for this. You wanted to do it. You're not just going to quit. Ugh. This is what pain and boredom and tedious and that's bad. So, and then you have to come home and practice. Ugh. It didn't last long. Eventually, I was able to get out of it. Okay. All right. So avoidance of pain and discomfort, restlessness. Imagine how people in your life might feel if you're restless all the time, like you're disappointed all the time. What else are we doing? What else we got? What else are we doing? What else could we do? Could we go do this? They might get the feeling like you don't really want to be with them. And you're thinking, why would they feel that way? Like I'm not even thinking about them. Yeah. And the sexual 7, you kind of have to remind them, or the self-preservation 7, sorry, you kind of have to remind them, other people have feelings, they have souls, and you got to be careful. Like you need to think of other people and how your activities and your actions make them feel, or maybe make them feel left out. And then the social 7s like me, you kind of have to tell them it's okay to be a little more selfish. Like it's okay to go after what you want. You're not being a bad guy if you decide to go off on a Saturday and shoot targets or whatever it is you want to do. You don't have to always try to keep your social group happy. And then the sexual 7s, like get your feet back on the ground. You can't live up there in the sky. You have to sort of get your feet back down on the ground and live in the real world. I know you like to live in your cartoon world, which is great. I love cartoon world, but in the real world, people can be jerks and you got to deal with them sometimes. Okay. So impulsivity, number 3, impulsivity. You guys can see impulsivity right now while I'm making this video. Something pops in my mind, I go with it. Something I think of and we go with it. Impulsivity could be difficult for people maybe to live with. if you're an impulsive person. Let me see what I have written down here. 7s can sometimes make decisions on a whim, guilty, without thoroughly thinking them through, which can be challenging on relationships and teamwork scenarios. You know, the opposite of this, I'm doing a study right now on my channel. I know you guys don't like it, but I don't care. I need to go through this stuff. Strength finders, great stuff. And I did the test, and number 34 out of 34, my lowest strength is called deliberative. And you know what deliberative means? It means before you take action, you stop and you deliberate. What could go wrong here? How much will I need for this? What will the outcomes be? My highest is positivity. So see, positivity, I'm positive it's going to be great. I'm positive it's going to be fantastic. I'm positive people are going to like it. So why do you really need to slow down and deliberate? That sounds boring. That sounds lame. That sounds, but I'm gonna make an effort to grow and become a more deliberative person. What about the type 7 sense of humor? Oh, during a conversation, yes. Because the fundamental thing here to realize is 7s want to lighten the mood. We want to lighten the mood, and so we can't help it. Our brain just works really fast like a 5's. Only it's not trained to solve problems like a 6, and it's not trained to just store information like a 5. So what is it trained to do? It's trained to synthesize information and sort of take this world and shove them together. And guess what? That's what comedy is. Comedy takes things from two different worlds and puts them together. And it says, oh, well, if it's like this with planes, what would that be like with boats? And we tend to see stuff that is funny and lightens the mood. And we really think we're helping the conversation by bringing levity and lightness into this, and only to find out people are not always appreciative of what we think is funny. Let me give you an example. If I was at a funeral and everybody's getting really weighed down and sad, and it's getting very serious, and there's tears starting to come, I might feel compelled to make a comment about the person in the casket, about their makeup. You know, wow, I never thought I'd see Dad wearing makeup, at least not out in public. You know, I might say something that brings levity to the moment and allows a pause to this gloomy, heavy. See, I'm uncomfortable with it. Other people might not be uncomfortable with that serious, reverent, but I'm uncomfortable with it. And so I assume we project our personalities out into the world. Well, everybody would be uncomfortable with this. Let me say this hilarious thing that popped into my mind that I shouldn't say. Let me say this hilarious thing that brings levity to the moment. And then that will help everybody relax, only to realize there's a 1 or a 2 or a 6 looking at you. That's not funny. I don't understand how you could think that was funny. You're not being respectful. And it's like, in my mind, I get it. The Enneagram is so helpful because it helps me understand this isn't appropriate to do this right now. And really, that's what maturity is. It's not that your impulses are bad. It's just recognizing that your impulses don't always move you toward the desired outcomes that you want. And this is one of those moments, 7, where it's funny. You need to keep it to yourself. Don't say it out loud. You're going to offend. People are not going to respond the way you think they would with, ha, 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 that's so funny. Now, a couple of 9s, yeah, they'll laugh at you, and maybe some 5s, but you know, the 1s are not going to think this is funny. The 2s are not going to think this is nice. The 6s are not going to think this is appropriate. And the 8 didn't like you anyway. So yeah, tread carefully. All right. So what we got here? That's funny. Yeah, it is funny. 7s are by far the funniest people on the Enneagram. And it's not that we're trying to be, it's just the way our brain works. And we don't like heavy, dark things. We want to lighten it up. And you know, go back and watch Chris Farley. If you guys remember Saturday Night Live, Chris Farley, you know, passed away now because what? Because of excess, gluttony. Okay. And I get chills just thinking about this kind of stuff. But watch Chris Farley enter a room. He can't just walk into a room. He's going to come in, you know, with all this big energy, whatever show he's on, whatever night, you know, Tonight Show or whatever guest he's on, watch him come in. Watch Robin Williams. It's like this energy just explodes. Okay. So impulsivity. We're all very impulsive. I don't care what your type is, you're impulsive. When a 1 yells at his wife for loading the dishwasher wrong, that's impulsive, okay? We all have impulses. It's just the 7s would be the obvious impulsive person. We would be called impulsive, even though I think everybody's impulsive. All right, what are we doing on time here? I'm going to try and be done within an hour, so we got about 25 minutes or so. Number 4, easily distracted. What'd you say? Easily distracted. You know, I distract myself. I was just talking to somebody a minute ago, and they said that they had a friend in college that was a 7, and he would put a sign in the library on his cubicle that says, "Don't talk to me." That sounds like a 5, right? It sounds like a 5 saying, "Don't talk to me." But it wasn't that he didn't want people to talk to him. It's that he knows, if you start talking to me, I'm done. I'm going to give up my assignments. I'm trying to be in my 1 space right now. I'm trying to comply with my homework and get my papers done. And if you talk to me, it's over. I'm going to be distracted, and I want to be distracted. Everything within me wants to walk away from this and walk around the library and do anything else. Don't talk to me. So easily distracted, scattered energy. We would definitely be the kids that would test ADHD. That would be us. Not that other people can't be ADHD, but a 7, come on. We're going to look like, to people that aren't, we're going to look like we are hyperactivity disorder and distracted. Just be patient with us, okay? Our minds are like a 5s, are firing super fast. And it's in our nature to be distracted. It's hard for us to focus, okay? So when your 7 seems a little bit distracted and unfocused, please be compassionate. Please be patient with us. Don't get angry at us. Don't scold us for having this distracted mind. Because you know what? This distracted mind, you're going to appreciate it when we have a brainstorming project. When we're sitting there trying to come up with ideas how to make our carnival better, that's when the 7's like, get out of my way. I got 75 ideas on my way to think of an idea. You know, we could have pony rides and a train. Put the ponies in the train, cotton candy in the train with the ponies. The 7 mind is like 1,000 things. Possibilities, yes. We can come up with possibilities, or I can. And I think a lot of 7s are wired this way, to just come up with possibilities. What's hard is, okay, how do we make those possibilities reality? I don't want to do that work. Leave that for Mary. Mary's great about deliberative stuff. As long as you're talking possibilities, cloud in the sky stuff, but easily distracted. Here's a fun one. How would a type 7 interact with each other? Oh, yes, that can be difficult. You know, my experience is the people of your own same type. If you're a 2, then other 2s. Or if you're a 7, other 7s. In my experience is we tend to really be drawn to other people of our own type, or we tend to really be frustrated with people of our own type. I think sometimes we see other people doing stuff we're telling ourselves no, and they're just going for it. They're just leaving and running off and doing and spending whatever they want. We're like, no, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? I tell myself no every day, and you're just going for it? That guy's bad. So it seems to me, my experience is we tend to really connect with people of our own type sometimes, or we tend to really be frustrated by people of our own type. So 7, sometimes one 7 will shut another 7 down. And then sometimes one 7 will light another 7 up. 7 up. How about that? That's good. Easily distracted. Okay, so what do we have so far? Avoidance of pain and discomfort. Yes. Dentist. Hello? Restlessness, impulsivity. You know what? Restlessness, think about that again. Break that word in half. Rest. Can't rest. Afraid of rest. Like feels nervous when you have to rest. In fact, if you were to read Christopher Hurwitz's book on the sacred Enneagram, he would say that sevens need rest in silence. Rest. Sevens, ones, and fours. Rest. The disappointment types. Interesting. All right, so restlessness. Impulsivity, easily distracted. Overcommitment. Number 5. This is why people would find us hard to live with, hard to be around, hard to have as a roommate. By the way, on my website, TomLaHue.com, I have a free download for you, a mini course called Know Your Why. All you got to do is join my Enneagram community. And also 35% off of any of my on-demand classes. I got a new one coming out, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Could be later, but maybe tomorrow, based on my book, Great Life. And it's 10 things you need to get right in your life in order for you to have the best life possible. So 35% off, coupon code BePresent35. Okay? All right. So overcommitment. This is because I don't want to say no to stuff. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do that. Oh, yeah, we can go on Friday. Sure, that sounds awesome. What do you think? Oh, you know what? We should also go to the taco place. Heck yeah, let's do that. Concert? I'm in. Let's go. And so sevens will overpromise. Listen to this. Ooh, it's going to make you sick. You're going to hate yourself. Okay. But this is what the Enneagram does. Sevens will overpromise what they're going to get accomplished. They will overpromise and will deceive you, not intentionally, but will overpromise what they're going to get done and what they're going to accomplish. We'll never lie to you about who we are. We're not going to lie to you about make you think we're better than we are. We're going to be ourselves. I will tell you 100% what I scored lowest on any of these personality tests. I'll tell you my biggest problems. No problem. I will not deceive you about who I am, but sevens will sometimes deceive you about everything they promise they're going to get done. And then we go, oh crap, I said I was going to do that. Where did I write that down at? I don't remember saying that. Were you in that meeting? Threes, on the other hand, just flip it backwards. Threes are going to do the opposite. They'll never lie to you or deceive you about what they're going to get accomplished, but they might deceive you about who they are. And eights, they're not going to lie to you about what they get accomplished. They're going to lie to you about who they are. Just interesting. The 3 assertive types. You're going to have to rewind that because you're like, what did he say? That was fantastic. I know. Just the good stuff just comes out. Just there. All right. Overcommitment. Yeah, and then not being there when you're needed, like when your kid has a recital or karate tournament or something because you're overcommitted. You're supposed to go with your friends, do this thing, have this weekend, go 4-wheeling, ride a jet ski, and then, oh, sorry, honey. And sevens, I want to punch you, but I'm not going to punch you because I am one of you. But sevens, if you're not careful, you will leave behind you a trail of broken promises. And that, I'm a counter 7. That frustrates me because I'm a dad. And man, be there for your kids. Be there for your family. I get it that the conference you want to go to is amazing. I get it that the Guitar Center is only having its sale today. But man, you got to put people first. You got to put your kids first. And I could just see sevens like leaving their family behind, going to a casino, spending money they don't have, chasing after the elusive satisfaction, gratification that this world's going to give me. And just realize, like, you can't say yes to everything. So if you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else. And just take a second to evaluate, like, what do I really care about? What's most important to me? And you might think, I want to be remembered as a person that brought joy with them, a person that was deep and had real connections with other people. Sure you do. You don't want to bring sadness and disappointment. You don't want to make other people in your life that love you miserable, but you will. You will if you don't get a handle on this drive within you for more, to not be satisfied, to feel like, you got to have something else. Do things fun. Instead of I need to do everything, I need to do all the fun things, do everything you're doing with joy. Look, you're a 7, man. Take a breath and realize at your best, you bring joy into the world. That's what you bring. You come into a room with all these people, they're just like barely living in life. They're disconnected. They don't have any joy. And you come in the room, bring the joy with you. If you're not a healthy 7, you're just fleeing frenetic escapism, chasing whatever happiness you can dig out of a dumpster. Just whatever happiness I can get out of life. I just got to escape all this tedious, boring, stuck, restless. I got to chase any kind of happiness at all. When we can kind of give that up a little bit, that elusive pursuit of what we're missing, and we can recognize I'm not missing anything. It's not something that happens just in one moment. It's something we tell ourselves every day. We're then free now to bring joy, inspiration, excitement, zest for life, enthusiasm. Bring that into this world because the world needs it. Now, you could beat yourself up that you're not a 1 and you're not more disciplined. You're not wired to do things the right way. You could beat yourself up. You're not a 3. You're not goal-driven and goal-oriented, accomplishing a lot. You realize I could accomplish so much more. You're not an 8. You're not powerful and strong and independent and in charge. You're not a 5, smart, brilliant, genius. But just let yourself be a 7. Man, just let yourself breathe in the joy and just breathe the joy out everywhere you go. Just decide, I'm going to go into dark places. I'm going to brighten them up. I'm going to go into dark places where there's sadness, where there's grief, where there's pain. And I'm just going to like Patch Adams. Hello? Like Patch Adams, I'm going to bring the joy with me. I'm just going to let people remember there's light, there's hope, there's light. Bring that with you. Wow. That's good stuff, man. I don't care who you are. Good stuff. I'm getting motivated. I need to take notes on this. I'm getting motivated. I'm motivating myself. Okay. Overcommitment. Anybody? Can 7s be alone? Yeah, that one's tough. It's good for us to be alone. In fact, when I'm coaching 7s, I always encourage them to try to sit in a rocking chair for 35 minutes a day with nothing on, no TV, no people, no music, no phone, nothing to distract you, and just let yourself do nothing. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, and yet 7s have a hard time doing it. Here's a question I have for you, 7s. If you're so much fun to be around, why can't you stand being around yourself? Why is that not enough? And this discipline of sitting still and facing the boredom dragon, facing it and letting yourself realize that you're okay. If you can be okay doing nothing, listen to this. You guys that are 7s, I hope this like sparks in your head. The rest of you guys that aren't 7s, just try your best to understand it. But you 7s, this is life-changing stuff, okay? If you are okay doing nothing, if you can do nothing long enough that you're okay with it, if you can sit in a chair for 35 minutes or longer and do nothing, if you can get to the point where you realize you're okay doing nothing, guess what? You're now okay to do anything. You're now free to do anything. When you're not a healthy 7, no matter what you're doing, it's never enough. It's never enough. Yeah, it's great to be on a boat. It's so much fun, but we didn't get jet skis. Just saying. It's great that we can come to the carnival. It's so much fun to come to the carnival. But if you spend an extra $40, you get a pass for all of the rides. It's just never enough. And when you can finally get to the point where I don't need anything, and it feels hard to talk like this and think like this when you're a 7. I don't need anything. I have everything I need. I don't need anything. I can do all things with fun and joy. And I really am okay doing nothing. If you are okay doing nothing, then you can do anything now. And while you're doing it, bring joy into it. So great question. Thanks. Where can you learn more about the disappointment type aspect you mentioned? I think the book, The Wisdom of the Enneagram. Let me see. It's been a long time since I read this one, but I think this book talks about the frustration types, because I think it goes into all the different groupings. There's a lot of these groupings. If you're not familiar with this, it's the Enneagram on a whole new level, but one of the groupings, like there's the rejection types, 2, 5, and 8. There's the pragmatist, 9, 3, and 6. And there's all these little groupings that exist in the Enneagram. And one of them is the frustration types, 7, 4, and 1. Ones are probably the obvious. Well, we're all obvious in our frustrations. We're frustrated about different things. Okie dokie. Overcommitment, avoidance of depth. Really? I can get pretty deep. But to be fair, I do appreciate surface relationships. I do. I do appreciate relationships where it's easy. I do. I like some of my friends that are just easy. They don't have a lot of expectations. They let me be ridiculous and they laugh at it. And we don't have to go deep. We can, but I appreciate the ones that don't make me go deep. Just saying. Okay, avoidance of depth. While not universally true, some 7s may avoid deeper, more meaningful conversations or reflections, preferring to keep things light and on the surface. Yes. Minimizing of issues. Number whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Minimizing of issues. When confronted with problems or conflicts, 7s might downplay the issue or make light of it, which isn't always appreciated, by the way. I can tell you from experience that they don't think it's funny. But one of the ways to deal with it is to minimize it by bringing humor into it. It feels right to me, but I recognize that other people might get annoyed by it. Okay, here's a big one. Fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. FOMO. The next big thing that I'm missing out on, making others around them sometimes feel overlooked or undervalued because I'm off on my own looking for, 7s. What are we looking for in a partner? Well, somebody said that 7s are looking for someone who will go along with them to do everything they were going to do on their own anyway. That doesn't sound very good, but I just read it, so I didn't make it up. But 7s are looking for a partner who will go with them to do all the things that they were going to do anyway. 7s can be very self-referencing. I don't like the word selfish, so I say self-referencing. And this fear of missing out can keep us in a restless state, always wanting to try the next thing, and can make us depart away from the people that are trying to love us. And we may not even realize it happened, but they're kind of wondering, where did he disappear to? Every style, every type has their own superpower. And I mean this in a funny way. 8s, it really is power, right? 5s, it's invisibility. And 7s, it's teleportation. You think the 7's there because you saw them, but then you turn around and where are they? They're gone. Where did they go? Well, they went after whatever caught their attention, that shiny thing over there, the electric guitar store, or whatever it is. They're at the family reunion, but they're not really at the family reunion. They're there at the beginning, they're there at the end, but where were they for the 3 hours that was in the middle? Well, if they weren't at the center of it, garnering all of the attention of the family around them, laughing at their hilarious stories, they probably disappeared and are off on an adventure chasing after something they think will satisfy them, leaving maybe the very things that would really satisfy them behind. This is such good stuff. It's deep. And you said 7s wouldn't be deep. I'm telling you, we can be deep. We can go there. All right, we got 2 left and we're just about out of time. So difficulty with boundaries. Yes. I think 8s are good at defending their own boundaries. 5s really are the boundary kings. Like they do think and act in a very boundary-oriented way. 9, 7s, 2s, we need help. We often need help with boundaries because I just walk in a room and I've got something that's interesting that I know about, and I just think you guys want to hear it. So I'm going to start talking about it, not recognizing that I'm not the leader of this group. Oh, well, doesn't he want to know about this? This is fantastic. Shut up, Steve. I got to tell him what I know. And the 7 might just overstep boundaries and probably not even realize they're doing it. I spent a lot of time in middle school in trouble for things that I don't even know what I did. I mean, they said I was talking out of turn, but everybody was laughing. I don't know. The teacher didn't think it was funny. Okay. Let's look at the last one. Tendency to rationalize. What is my tri-type? What do I think about the tri-type? This is from Shika. Yes, I think there's something to the tri-type. I studied it for a little while. I checked out, I forget her name now, but she's kind of the guru of tri-types. Favre? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Catherine Favre, I think. And tri-types, I'm a 741 or a 714, which is all of the frustration types. And my wife is all of the rejection types, the 2, 5, and 8. So the 714 is called the visionary on the good list, but on the hit list, it's called the obnoxious eccentric. How do you like that? Tom, you are an obnoxious eccentric. When I first read that, my wife said, well, what does that mean? Why would it say that? You're not an obnoxious eccentric. And I said, well, my dear, I really do declare, sometimes I can be obnoxious. I said downright, downright obnoxious. I can be. So 741. I think the tri-type thing makes a lot of sense. Grace, one of my daughters, is an 826. That's all of the protective types. See, there's another one of those groupings that you need to know about. 8, 2, and 6 are all the protective types. 784. Oh, cool. Yeah. I forget what the name of that is. Let me look. 784 tri-type is 478. The messenger. That's interesting. The messenger. And on the hit list, it is called I can't even say that one out loud. Noisy attention seeker. Let's just say that. I won't say the last word. It's a woman of ill repute. Noisy attention seeker. I'll just say that. Okay. Interesting. All right. So difficulty with boundaries. Their zest for life. I love how I've got it here. Their zest for life and wide array of interests can sometimes lead them to overstep the boundaries. Yes. And just talking over other people. Okay. Here's the last one. Ready? And then we'll wrap it up. The tendency to rationalize and justify our behaviors. To avoid dealing with negative emotions or consequences, 7s might rationalize their choices or behaviors, sidestepping accountability. What? They were upset when I said that? What? I was just kidding. What? It was just a joke. What? Your mom was laughing. Why would she be upset? What? 7 wing 8, the realist. What? I was just being real. What? He's got a colostomy bag. I can't talk about it? Come on. What? Rationalizing, justifying. What? What's the big deal? What's the problem? Okay. So these are the reasons why it could be difficult to live. Yeah, reframing. Reframing, yeah, that could be part of the avoidance of pain and discomfort or minimizing of issues, reframing things. I'm thinking of all these scenes in my mind from The Office. I think Michael Scott is a 7. And then Parks and Rec, I think that Leslie Knope is a 7. She looks a little like a 3, but I think what makes the show funny is she's not a 3. She's trying to be like a 3, but she's really a 7. And that's what makes those shows funny is you just watch those. I watch those and yes, it's hilarious, but I also just feel this is why people get frustrated with me. I get it now. I see it. Yes. And my son's got me watching Better Call Saul What a great 7 character. Better Call Saul. All right. So if you are a 7, I hope something in this inspires you, encourages you, helps you slow down, realize the way you're being perceived maybe by others isn't always the way you think you're being perceived. Because I know in your mind, it feels great on the inside and you feel like you're having fun. But sometimes it can be hard to, keep up with Tigger always. And Tigger is easily distracted away from the group. And that could feel lonely for other people maybe. And so I hope if you're living with a 7, I hope that you are compassionate. And, there's always kind of the long fix and the short fix. The long fix is we all need to work on our own stuff. Okay, we need to watch videos like this. We need to read about this stuff. We need to push back on our impulses and challenge ourselves. But the short fix is, how can I live with you broken as you are? And now that you know how a 7 is broken, how can you live in a more understanding and compassionate way with this little adventurer, this little enthusiast, this little Epicurean that is growing up in your home or that you're married to? How can you be a little more sensitive and compassionate with each other and recognize that the accent we speak in is the 7 accent, and we need a little bit more understanding. And of course, we need to grow and be understanding of others as well. And that's the point of all of this, is that we see ourselves as we truly are, challenge ourselves, and then move beyond the restrictions of the personality, the box you're in, and recognize that we're speaking with an accent and other people don't always understand what we're saying. All right, guys, love you all. Thank you for joining me on this live stream. I hope it was helpful. You can, if you missed my live stream on 9s and 8s, then you can go back and watch those later. And next week, I'm going to plan on being on here again and do a live stream on type 6. I've got a daughter that's a 6. My brother's a 6. My mom and my mother-in-law were all 6s. So I got a lot of 6 people in my life, and I love 6s, and I'm very 6-like sometimes myself. So thank you, guys. 4s will come up. I see you there near. I'm going to do 6s, 5s, 4s. We're going to go all the way down the line. And love you guys. Take care. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your evening. And I'll see you again. Take care. Bye, guys.